Hello students, and now let us continue chapter number 1. Now let us learn the role or the duties of a secretary towards office, members, managing committee or the registrar. Mention the duties of the secretary towards the office. To control the activities of the society, to guide the operation of the society, to maintain proper books of managing committee, to operate bank account, to prepare trading account, profit and loss account and balance sheet, to look after correspondence, to maintain records, to communicate to the office staff the decisions of the managing committee, to prepare periodical statements for the information of the managing committee. Next is mention the duties of the secretary towards the members of the society. So what is the role of the secretary towards the members of the society? She has to see that the circulars or letters are issued to the members. Also issue application for shares, then payment for the amount of shares, to receive application for loans from the members of the society, to receive the repayment of loans from the members, to issue notices and circular of the meetings of the members, to make arrangement for the meeting. The secretary has to supply information to the members. She also has to take the note of the proceeding of the meeting, to record the attendance of the members for the meeting. Also, she has to get the minutes approved in the next meeting and to keep the correspondence with the members and to transfer the shares. The duties of the secretary towards the managing committee. Here the secretary has to make necessary arrangements for the meeting of the managing committee. The secretary has to issue notices and circulars of the meetings of the managing committee. She has to prepare a calendar of the meetings of the managing committee, to place before the managing committee the receipts and payment account for consideration. The secretary has to supply the necessary information to the managing committee. The secretary also has to take down the notes of the proceeding of the meeting. She has to prepare the minutes of the meeting, to get the minutes approved. Now here the secretary acts as an agent of the managing committee. She also advised the members of the managing committee as regards with the conduct of the business of the society. Mention the duties of the secretary towards the registrar of a cooperative society. The secretary has to acquaint the managing committee about the letters and circulars received from the registrar of cooperative society, to furnish information about the society to the registrar, to file annual returns along with the statement of accounts with the registrar within 45 days of the close of the cooperative year, to issue notices of the annual general meeting of the society and file the copy of the same with the registrar. The secretary has to submit audit rectification report to the registrar. The secretary also has to send proposal of amendments to the registrar in time and to keep correspondence with the registrar. The next office bearer of the cooperative society is the treasurer. Since the society undergoes many financial activities, the treasurer is in charge of the cash and maintaining of the books of accounts of the society. Now, how is the treasurer appointed? A treasurer is always appointed on honorary basis and is not entitled for any remuneration, but is entitled for some honorarium if it is decided by the general body. Let us learn the role of the treasurer in the working of a cooperative society. Or what role does a treasurer play towards the working of a cooperative society? The treasurer has to maintain the books of accounts and register it up to date. He has to prepare the vouchers and receipts on various payments and receipts. He has to receive and disburse the money on behalf of the society. The treasurer has to arrange money whenever required for the affairs of the society. Next point, examining of the legality of the expenditure made during the functioning of the society. So the secretary has to examine the legality of the expenditure. He has to also execute the budgetary provisions and has to keep the expenses in control. He has to hold meetings of the finance committee and plan financial strategy for the society. The treasurer has to verify the cash at any time and has to hold inquiry if there is any misappropriation found. He has to prepare profit and loss account and also has to assess the financial position of the society. He has to get prepared the financial statement of the society at the close of the financial year. The treasurer has to prepare all statements and schedules which are required for the purpose of audit. The next part is funds of management of a cooperative society. Now, finance is a kingpin of business of the society. It is a lifeblood of a business. It may be small or big, business organization requires finance. Without finance, no business can be undertaken by a cooperative organization or a company organization. The success of cooperative organization depends upon its financial resources. The main objective of a business organization is to earn profit. If you need money, you need money to invest. So money is required to make more money. Next topic is, why is finance required by a cooperative society, or why there is a need of finance to a cooperative society? Now, as a student, if you go to see, you need money like to buy your stationery, your travel expense, your food expense, your stationery, your school expense, right? Same way, a cooperative society also undergoes a lot of expenses. So let us now learn why there is a need of finance to a cooperative society. The society has to meet preliminary expenses like the registration fees. She has to pay to the salary to the staff, fees to the professionals. Also, finance is required to acquire fixed assets of the society. For example, land and building, plant and machinery, furniture, to purchase raw materials and stock of partly finished goods which are required by the society, to raise working capital requirement in meeting the day-to-day requirements of the society, to pay other expenses which are incurred like interest on loans, interest on deposits, and installation charges payable to the technical experts. Now, society also needs money to undertake expansion and modernize the business so as to satisfy the growing demands of the society's product. Now, the provision of money also should be made for the expense on transport, storage, distribution, insurance, and advertisement. State and explain the factors determining the capital requirement of a cooperative society. Or you can take it as, Mr. Anil is the chairman of Ambika Cooperative Society, Goa. What factors he will consider to raise the capital? So, he will have to see the area of operation, the nature or value of the product, the size of the business, classification of cooperative society, methods of acquiring the assets, frequency turnover, and types of activities. Area of operation. If the society is functioning at the village level, then it will require less capital. And if the society is functioning at the taluka or district level, it will require more capital. The second point is classification of cooperative society. The requirements of a capital of a society depends upon its class. For example, a cooperative credit society needs relatively more capital than a consumer cooperative society, and industrial cooperative society needs still more capital. Nature or value of the product. If the society manufacturing a simple consumer article such as soap or novelties will require lesser capital. But on the other hand, if the society is manufacturing products like machine, then it will need huge capital. The fourth point is size of the business. Now, if the society is engaged in wholesale trade, then it requires more capital. And if the society is engaged in retail trade, then it requires less capital. Now, the fifth point is methods of acquiring the assets. Now, a society acquiring fixed assets like building on outright purchase for cash will need more capital than the society acquiring them on rental basis. The sixth point is frequency turnover. If the turnover is rapid, then lesser capital is required. For example, baker, restaurant, etc. Types of activities. Now, a society is manufacturing as well as distributing activities, then it will require more capital. And if the society is only selling the goods or dealing only goods manufactured by them, then it requires less capital. Now let us learn the various sources of finance which are available to a cooperative society. Now the first point is entrance fee. The society collects entrance fees from its prospective members at the time of admission. However, the entrance fee being nominal cannot be regarded as an important source of finance. Second point is by donations. The educational societies and other societies are rendering democratic services, and they are allowed by their bylaws to collect donations from the wealthy persons in the society and also from the members and the general public. The third point is grants and subsidies. Grants and subsidies are given by the state and central government to the labor cooperatives, cooperative marketing societies, primary agricultural societies during the first few years of their working. The fourth point is by special concession. The cooperative societies are specially exempted from paying income tax, sales tax, etc. They also enjoy cheap facilities which are provided by the Reserve Bank of India and State Bank of India. By issue of shares. Initially, a society collects capital by raising shares to the promoters or the members and the villagers residing in its area of working. The value of the share is kept low, for example, Rs 10 per share. Now this is to enable the poor villagers to become a member of the proposed society. Point of view, this is the most important source of finance because of the following. Huge amount can be collected from large number of villagers. The amount is collected without furnishing any securities to the villagers. The share capital so collected from villagers need not be refunded as societies conduct the business for them. The payment of dividend on share is not compulsory. By receiving deposits. A society can collect deposits from its own members, from the family, the general public, as per the terms and conditions laid down in the bylaws. However, most of these societies could not collect sufficient deposits from the members and the general public, mainly due to keen competition prevailing between the commercial banks and cooperative societies to attract deposits. Reluctance on the part of the members to give deposits to such societies. By raising loans, a society can raise its finance by issuing debentures and bonds. The debentures and bonds are to be issued as per the conditions prescribed by the Registrar of Cooperative Society. Society must be authorized to issue debentures by its bylaws. A society can take loan from different financial institutions such as State Bank of India and Commercial Bank of India, National Cooperative Development Corporation, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, loans from Government Agricultural Refinance and Development Cooperatives. Contribution from the state and central government. The central and state government can subscribe to the share capital of the cooperative societies. It can also provide finance to a society for the purchase directly or indirectly shares of other societies. There are other areas where government provides finance by way of grants and subsidies to the cooperative societies. By share capital contribution from the employers. The employers can also assist or help the cooperative societies formed by their employees in the form of loans, participation in share capital, and provision of premises. Internal finance. This is one of the best source of finance. In this case, the society should not distribute the entire profit amongst the members. It is also called plowing back of profit. Instead of distributing the entire profit to the members, the society may retain some profit in the form of general reserves, depreciation, and reserve funds. These reserves can be made available to the society at time of requirements. Moreover, if the society has created reserves, it can maintain general solvency and credit of society. This helps the society to take loans easily. Thank you, students, for your kind cooperation and sound listening. Wish you all a happy learning. Thank you.